Number what?
Is it 10?
Yes.
Yep, 10.
Thank you.
Oh, there it is. All right, 10. Okay. Are we good, Kurt? I'm good to be talking? Okay, all right.
We are now.
Thanks. Number 6, adoption of the agenda and consent agenda as an order of business with identification of items to be taken off the consent agenda for discussion or separate action. Need a motion?
Make a motion that we adopt the agenda and consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
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 All right, now we need to consider approval of consent agenda as adopted to approve the minutes from November 19th, 2024, Board of Education meeting, to approve the financial report for the period of July 1, 2024 through November 30th of 2024, and finally to approve bills for the period of November 1 through November 30th of 2024 in the amount of $2,346,242.33. I need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, item 8, Board District Leadership, Strategic Planning, Legislative Update. Scott?
Yeah, thank you. I was unable to attend in person yesterday morning. However, I was able to meet virtually with Sheboygan County superintendents in the afternoon yesterday to get a rundown as to what was discussed at their legislative meeting. Representatives Devin LeMahieu, Joe Sheehan, and Lindy Brill were all in attendance. Again, Devin's the seasoned vet of that crew. He was reelected as chairman. He's spent a great deal of time in the last couple of weeks meeting with freshman assembly people to assign them to committees and things like that, so he's been busy doing those types of things. Joe and Lindy, being of that freshman crew, had 5 days of orientation last week, so they've been busy just getting their feet under them. Joe has been placed on the Education Committee, which is his wheelhouse. And I think he's excited about being representative on that group. Priorities there, K-12 education, childcare, and affordable housing are really his key things that he's looking at, so things that resonate with all of us.
Sounds like what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Lindy Brill also is going through all that orientation. She's not been assigned to a committee yet, but as far as priorities, she listed substance abuse, mental health, and education as well. So we have some people with some passion points that resonate. Two things that I guess I pulled from our conversation. The governor's requested a late February for state budget address, which is later than usual, which I think is going to be perhaps create a difficult timeline. That's the inclination that I get, but nonetheless, that was his ask. And there was conversation around Act 10 with the recent decision in Madison, which has already been appealed. So not only from that meeting, but also PAC meeting that I attended on Friday with other legislators, I think people are thinking there is an immediate impact of that decision, but as I think we all do know, these things going through the process take quite a bit of time. So there's no action that's needed at this point, and we'll see what action, if any, does need to be taken at any point. You can bet that this will be a topic of conversation probably at every such meeting that I'm at, and I'll make sure that all of you are kept up to speed with that. That's
Great.
my update.
All right, thank you, Scott. Panther Spotlight, Riverview Middle School, Tom.
Come on then.
Be up here.
I got my sheet of paper, so I'm just going to go off the screen. Thank you. And I'm going to give this to my projector power. Thank you for taking a couple minutes to spend with us. I have Miss Rachel Moore, who's one of our part of our fifth grade team. She also is our forensics advisor. She coordinates Deck the Halls. She also coordinates student government. Am I missing anything? I know I'm missing something.
What? I don't know. Washington DC trip.
Oh, and the Washington DC trip in the summer, because you've got time during the summer. I also have Crystal Gunther, who is kind of our Swiss Army knife. She works in our counseling department, but she also works with some of, and is really good at building relationships with some of our most difficult students who really need those relationships to keep coming back and making them feel welcome. We also have a couple students here. Guys, if you could tell the group your names and then the things you're involved in.
Okay, hi, my name is Aaliyah Fisher. I'm Student Council Vice President, and I'm involved in dance, musical, student council, forensics, golf, band, choir, talent show, basketball, volleyball, jazz band, cooking club, solo and ensemble, web, and Christmas carolers.
Life is going to be really easy for Aaliyah when she graduates. Ava?
My name is Ava Shad. I'm Student Council President, and I'm involved in choir, Student Council, forensics, musical, solo and ensemble, tennis, and web leaders.
Corp?
I'm Corbin Depius. I'm involved with wrestling, choir, solo ensemble, and student council and the musical.
And Corp, had you ever gone out for musical before?
No,
And what did
I've
you?
wished him to.
And, and what did you play in the Addams Family?
I played Fester. He's the uncle, and I had a lot of fun. He was one of the leads.
One of the leads for the first time ever. So, just to give a little bit of background, what we want to talk about today is one of things just taking off our webpage, the 4 pillars, extracurriculars. Just going over the numbers. Right now, we have in the fall we offered 13 student opportunities. And of those 13 student opportunities, I could go down the list. I've got the numbers, but again, I want to be sensitive to time. Overall, we had 490 participants out of a school of about 557. Now, there were some duplicates there, but it's safe to assume we had 75% participation, which that tells me that we're doing something well, that students feel welcome and they want to be part of the school, not just from 7:30 to 2:35, but afterwards. And it's a testament to the relationships that people like Ms. Moore, people like Ms. Gunther, Mr. and Mrs. May, the Harters, are building and continue to build with our students. So I will shut my mouth on to the good stuff. Ms. Moore, if you want to go ahead and start.
All right. We're going to talk about forensics first. Forensics is a program that allows students to develop argumentative, speech writing, auditorial, and performance skills that you need to be successful inside and outside school. I can tell forensics has helped me to do this.
Anyone can do forensics, grades 5th through 8th. You don't need any experience, doesn't cost any money, and anyone who is interested can do it. We have 29 students involved currently.
Why is public forensics important? It helps build public speaking skills and time management skills. It also builds confidence in students' abilities, along with, it also creates opportunities for students to make new friends and find new interests.
Now we're going to talk about student council. In addition to planning events for the school, participating in school spirit, and building community, we also give a voice to the student body. We work hard to share ideas, interests, and concerns.
Who can be in it? Everyone is encouraged to join. We are open through 5th through 8th for students in good standing. We have confidence in our members that they're good role models for the students, and we currently have 95 students involved.
Members learn how to create a positive impact on the community around them while building their teamwork and leadership skills. Student council is a great experience that shapes the way students treat their community.
A little side note, could you go back for a second, Ms. Moore? That was during the parade or before the parade for the day after Thanksgiving. How cold was it?
This year it was pretty cool.
Oh,
The one before that, yeah,
That's
that was
this
this year. I believe with the wind chill, it was 4.
So,
Yeah.
some
It
hardy
was-
kids.
It was pretty cool.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right.
And then at the end, we just added some pictures
Sure.
of
Some fun
us
things that we
doing
do.
some community
Um,
work.
So yeah, it's pretty great. So when we took over when I took over student council, it had the bare bones. It was more of a community involvement group. I turned it into more of a school government where they had a voice, that they got to vote, that they have to run for office, and it gives them a sense of leadership, which I think is a positive thing to bring into the high school and onward onto life.
I believe the same thing about forensics. I would definitely, like, if you told me in 5th grade that I would be standing up here doing this, I would have died.
I
Forensics,
did tell you that in 5th grade.
forensics also helps with, like, I joined forensics when I was in 5th grade, and if I hadn't joined forensics, I wouldn't have done musical. And now this year, I was the lead in the musical, which was really fun, but I would have never done it without forensics. So.
Yeah. And like forensics, you get so many opportunities to like make new friends and stuff, like, because there's a bunch of different schools, and I made friends from people I didn't even know, from them just being in my room. And over the years, I've gotten so much better to where I've gotten perfect scores now, so improvement.
Yes.
And now Corb will sing a little extra. Just kidding. No, I think next up is Crystal.
Yep.
Ms. Gunther is also one of our co-advisors for our Girls in STEM program.
Hi, our Girls in STEM program is based upon science, technology, engineering, and math. We meet once a month in Rachel Laskowski's room, who is our math teacher at the Riverview Middle School as well. We've done a lot of things, experiments with robotics, coding, just a lot of fun things. This past Monday, yesterday, we had a meeting, but Rachel and I had them do a lot of Christmas games and fun things just to kind of like get together. It's ages 5th through 8th grade. Anyone is welcome. Again, there is no fee to join our club. Currently, unfortunately, our roll count is kind of going down from last year to this year. We took over from Kay Tharp after she retired. We're hoping to increase that just with working with Rachel Moore and getting some of that information out there to students. We just really have a lot of fun. And we want those girls to be able to take that stuff maybe on, like, into their future. Find something that they look forward to for their future and what they can attend college for and move forward.
I just wanted to let everybody know, we're really proud of these guys. And then just by the numbers, there's a ton of other students who are doing, maybe not as much as Aaliyah is doing, but it's what makes Riverview, I think, a special place, is kids aren't leaving at 2:35, the mass exodus to the door. They're sticking around, although this Friday that might be the case, where we would get out of the way. There's a lot of kids that are involved in a lot of activities, both before and after school.
I guess I also want to throw in there, some of the groups that Rachel and I do are for kids that maybe aren't a participant in athletics and are looking for something to be involved in and feel a purpose and a place. And our groups, I think, kind of
Have a voice in what happens at Riverview.
Yep.
Yeah.
That they perhaps maybe don't feel like they're always heard.
Especially in student council, like I know a lot of people that are in student council but didn't want to do anything else.
Right.
Just because they just
Not
wanted
that there
to.
aren't sporty
Yeah.
kids there,
Yeah.
but it also gives them another avenue.
That's a great thing because it's a variety of people.
Yep.
Anything else? Did I get it all?
I think we did.
All right.
Thank you so
for your
much.
time.
Thank you.
All right, that was excellent. Thank you again. Wonderful presentation, and good luck to the three of you. You guys are going to do well. All right, we are on to consider approval of the Plymouth School District Safety Plan as we discussed in closed session. Scott, you don't have any more to say?
Don't have more to say. I guess I do feel compelled to just bring up the tragedy that took place in Madison yesterday. And just let everybody know that it's something we as a district leadership team discussed today. You know, our thoughts and prayers go out to all the families who are impacted in that event. And we will continue to work day in and day out to make sure our students and staff feel safe.
All right, thank you. And with that, I need a motion to approve the safety plan that was presented in closed session.
We'll make a motion that we accept the safety plan that we went over last week and then tonight in closed session.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Okay, finance, buildings and grounds, consider gifts and corresponding budget adjustments.
Yeah, thank you. We would ask that the board consider the following gifts and corresponding adjustments. We have 4, a donation of $2,320 from the Rich Freeze family for the music department, an anonymous donation of $3,000 to purchase a sign for the girls' softball field, a donation of $4,186 from the Plymouth Education Foundation for Plymouth High School Have a Seat campaign, and a donation of $288 from the Plymouth Education Foundation for purchasing Johnny Pops for the winner of the Penny War.
Johnny Pops? What are Johnny?
Oh.
Think about like fruit, like, there's, they're almost like a smoothie and a popsicle.
There you have it.
I must,
Healthy.
healthy, all right, good.
Part
All
of our
right,
wellness.
so I need a motion to accept these gifts and corresponding budget adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you. Moving on, Academic Pillar of Excellence. Consider approval of the Plymouth High School coursework proposals. Joe is not.
Joe's not here, but he presented last week on the 3 proposed changes to the course handbook. We would ask that the board approve those changes.
So I need a motion to approve the changes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say yes.
Yes.
All right, presentation and discussion of the 2024-2025 school report card. Dina takes a swig of water.
I do my best. You have a packet in front of you, and on the second page is something that I include every year, which is just the breakdown of that front page of the report card. And it tells you what each of those sections mean. On page 3, a little bit of background just to help break things down a little bit more. So one of the biggest things is to remember is when we look at that front page of each of the report cards, that it is not an assessment. That number on the front of that scorecard is not a percent. And that's the one thing I think people get confused with, is that they look at that and they match it up to a percentage point, and it is not a percentage. It's based on a different rating. So the number is given, and then it's given different ratings, from fails to exceed to exceedingly exceeds. One thing I included, the third bullet, I thought was interesting. So the DPI provides us lots of different resources for when we present. And this statement stood out to me, that the current school report card is primarily based on the last year's performance during the 23-24 school year. Though multiple years of data are used throughout the report card, DPI encourages caution when interpreting scores and ratings. So I'm going to explain that a little bit more. When we look at that, when we think of assessments, we think of achievement, right? The report card is not just achievement. The report card, achievement is part of it, but the other parts are attendance, chronic absenteeism, and graduation. So those components are part of the factors that come to making up that score. The other thing is that assessment is based on measures of achievement and growth, but they are weighted averages. And I'm going to show you an example. So you have that, that assessment score, the achievement score, but it's weighted on 3 years, and it's also dependent on the percentage of economically disadvantaged students within your school or your district. The final thing that goes into this school year's report card is there were cut scores done this year. So this year, this last summer, a group of 88 educators met in Madison, and they readjusted the cut scores for the forward test. So they sat down and sort of re-standardized everything. So to do that, they have to take this year and adjust those scores.
so that they can make it more comparable to the previous years since it's different. And in the process of that, the formula has actually lowered the achievement scores. All of this is definitely confusing. The point is it's hard to compare apples to apples. When we look at, and I'm going to show you on the next page, when you look at an example, you're going to see how it's very different, and you have to look at the makeup and the parts of it to understand where things are at, which all leads to why this is one form of information that we take, but that we also want to make sure that we're looking at other resources like the KPI or our district dashboard that we're working on, because that is our actual data and our scores, just ours, not weighted, not tampered with to be a comparable.
Yeah, and I'll jump in. This was a hot topic last week at our PAC meeting as well, with the adjustment that went on during the off-season, so to speak, as far as where those cut scores were. It's almost as if the finish line has been arbitrarily moved somewhat, okay? So certainly value here, certainly we're accountable to this, but district to district, everyone was singing the same song, in that there's some frustration with how things have been established and handled as far as those scores and how our kids are being evaluated. Bottom line is, there is value here. This is one indicator, but like Dina said, all the more reason that we're going to take chronic absenteeism and student achievement, and we're going to watch that as, longitudinally. Are our kids growing? Are they not growing? Where can we improve? But that's just a few measures that we're using to evaluate what we're doing for kids going forward. So I hope that makes sense. So as Dina's talking, it sounds very confusing, and your eyebrows are kind of wrinkling up a little bit. Ours do as well.
So on page 4, if the state report card was based solely on achievement, solely on our kids learning and taking a test to show how they are understanding the learning, if you look at those two scores, which school do you think would have a higher state report card?
Bottom one.
The bottom one, the one with the higher achievement score, right? So if you turn, and and take a look. When we look at, again, considering this is a 3-year assessment or rolling average of sorts, even though it's last year, the one school, 81.5% is awesome for academic proficiency. 72% in English, 13%, almost 14% higher than the state average. Math, 90, almost 91%, almost 26.2% higher than the state average. And then that other school, the school below with 84, you would think, achievement-wise, they should have the higher state report card. But if you turn to page 5, this is where all of that background that I gave you about the weighted, all of that different, how that plays a role. So if you take a look, the school with the lower achievement had a considerably higher priority score, state report card score, because they had a higher socioeconomic status, that economically disadvantaged than the other school. Which, if you take a look at that priority area weight, what that does is it changes the formula. So in this school, in this case it's Fairview, their achievement has a priority weight of 39.2%, and their growth then has a weight of 35.8%. Because Parkview, even though their achievement was higher, has a lower economic disadvantage, their priority area of weight, their growth, or their achievement, was only at 31% weighted, and their growth at 18.5. So when they put together that priority score on the top of the first page of your report card, all of it is weighted differently to get to that. So you have to look at those different parts to truly understand where it falls. So I will give you time to look through the different results in the different schools. Again, making sure that you're looking at those priority area weights and how that school was weighted. It's definitely interesting information. Academically, I think we're doing really well, always higher than state average, sometimes almost 30 percentage points higher than the state.
Is the achievement under subject area score, 72.3%, is a slide bar underneath that 0 to 100. Is that truly a percentage?
Those are percentages.
I mean,
Yes.
72.3% of our kids achieve or exceed or meet expectations,
Are proficient.
proficient.
And this includes your ACT, your pre-ACT, your forward, and then your dynamic learning maps, which are alternative assessment students, who are those that are significantly delayed in their learning.
So target group outcomes on Fairview, they're.
When a target groups can actually be like their own little mini report card, but when a target group isn't there, it's because it's smaller than 20 students, and then it's too small to include because it could be identifiable
Okay.
due to maybe the makeup of their, if they're a minority set, like how it's made up, it could be identifiable. So smaller than that, they take it out.
They take it out. Okay. All right, questions for Dina? In the past, and I know we just heard about the shift or whatever, but how have we ranked? I mean, if, everything else aside, just looking at the star rankings,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna be looking for a school district, I'll probably look at, 4-star school, I'm interested, right? 3-star, I'm a little questionable. So,
We had some of our school, 2 of our schools increase, 3 of our schools stayed the same.
stayed the same?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Growth is probably the biggest conversation I'm having right now, because I think, if you want to play the game, to change this, I think growth is where we have to make our biggest changes on this report card to make a difference. So focusing in, and what we've been doing is Ann Gamoki and the school psychs and I have been meeting, and we're looking at our interventions and how do we better make sure that we are addressing the different levels of intervention. So tier 1, right within the classroom, tier 2, and then tier 3. So that is what we're working on in English, math, and actually executive functioning skills. So, just your basic organizational type of skills, and then social emotional as well.
And when Dina talks interventions, obviously, the earlier that you can intervene in a student's educational career, the more effective you're going to be. So early identification, early intervention, and then obviously that's going to pay dividends throughout the entire system.
In the growth, explain that parameter again. It- I know.
I'm going to take it right from the book. So growth, it tells you how rapidly your students are gaining their knowledge from year to year.
From year to year?
Yes. And then it says, in contrast to achievement, which is based on the levels of performance a student attains in a given year. So year to year, how are they doing? And moving their knowledge base.
So achievement is largely that one point in time. Like on this given assessment, how did we perform, or how did this student perform? Whereas growth is comparing two different points and how rapidly are they making those gains over time.
Does that help?
Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to understand, I mean, you look at what Fairview has a really high growth number.
Right.
And the other schools, 50,
Right.
half of. So does that mean Fairview's doing something really different than the other schools? Does that?
It could depend on the makeup of the students as well, and what students are having that significant growth. So the nice thing is behind these, this data,
Dashboards.
we can click in and we can narrow it down to see exactly what students are doing and where they're at. So that's where, on our end, that's how we can use this data to really drill down to where our needs fall and how do we better serve our students. And that's where the different interventions come into play. That is, like I've talked to the board for quite, the last few years about our ELA and how we know we need to continue to tick that up and why we're looking at purchasing a new program. And, all of those different pieces come into play.
Okay.
So just looking at our KPIs here with our goals, right? So we're at 64% the last 2 years in ELA. We went from 69 to 70% for math, so we've grown a little bit. And then we want to get to 68% in ELA and 72% in math. And that's next year, I assume, right? That's our goals for next year, is to get there.
I don't think we ever settled on a number. I think we put those in, and that's where I believe that work, we want to work on this summer.
Okay.
That's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, oh, we put this in ink already. I thought. So funny enough, right, so my thought, I'm just confirming all that, but does 68%, 72%, if that's our goal, are you able to translate that into this scorecard, and does that put us at exceeding expectations, or what's the next level up?
And that's why I said I think that our data, like our report card, is easier to understand because of how the school report card is so weighted and skewed because of this, the economically disadvantaged. That skews it so much in my mind because they want it to be comparable. I don't feel it's that raw data. And we want that raw data to be able to understand truly where our kids are at and where we need to go with them.
Sure, but I'm just trying to like, if you throw a goal on paper, right, it should mean something. Why are we doing that, right? It's just, one, it'd be, well, it's higher than it was before, but why are we going up 2% or 4%? I guess if it correlates to something here that says, okay, that'll push us to exceeding expectations, okay, that makes sense. I agree that it might be difficult to get that formula to work out, so you hit that. You know, one thing I'm aware of is that I think Plymouth in Sheboygan County is, I think, on a pretty short list of different school districts that are at just meets expectations. I think there's quite a few that are at exceeds. And we want to get there, right? If we want to pursue like growth, right, student count, we want to be the best, or right at that same level, right? So that would be kind of my thoughts is, why set a goal, what should the goal be, and how does that boost our score enough to get to exceeds expectations?
To your point, it's tough year to year because the growth might be weighted differently a little bit one year to the next, but a positive impact on the achievement in one year is going to have a positive impact on, let me back up. Our positive growth on our KPI achievement, that is going to also feed a positive impact into the state report card regardless. Now, it's nice to be able to identify specific, you know, what's the goal that we want to hit on the report card. That's just very difficult to hit because it might change year to year as far as how things are weighted. But to your point, yeah, we want to exceed expectations or significantly exceed expectations across the board. So we want to see that longitudinal data going up.
Because if we're playing the game by which the state report card has, then we should look at getting more disadvantaged students in our school district because that's going to raise our scores. And all of a sudden, because we have more disadvantaged students in our schools, we have a higher scorecard. We're exceeding expectations. We're significantly exceeding just by going after that. Because that's how the state report card is using one of the elements to, quote, grade if we're meeting expectations or not. That's why I think the KPI and going after the KPI and what we want to set as goals, achievable goals, but challenging goals, should correlate, but it may not adjust it because we don't have X number of these types of students in our district or not. That's the shortcoming of what this A tool in the full toolbox truly is. This is just one tool.
Yeah, I don't think just getting more disadvantaged students in the district is going to boost our score if our achievement stays the same. I think there's other factors there.
But if you look at the numbers just based on Fairview, it shows it.
Yeah, but then you think of like Kohler and Oostburg where they're exceeding or significantly exceeding, and those would be some of the villages or cities that have probably some of the lowest disadvantaged students.
That's fair,
So,
Dan. Absolutely.
you know,
Now, in that case, they're going to shift the weightedness of your growth versus your achievement. So if you have fewer students that are socioeconomically disadvantaged, achievement's going to be weighted more. If you have a higher percentage of your population that is socioeconomically disadvantaged, it's going to be more weight towards the growth end of it versus achievement. But as you can see within the district itself, from school to school, that weighted system's going to vary. So it's tough to have that apples to apples because your populations are different.
yeah. And at the end of the day, regardless of your ethnicity or your economic status, right, we just want achievement to be
Yep.
moving up.
Yep.
Right, and so I think we're charting the right things, so.
Other comments? Yeah, I think the achievement tie is the key. You look all the way across this whole thing, achievement is, let's get the achievement numbers up and keep them up. We have to understand that because of demographics or because of some of these other parameters, we may have a school that'll only be 3 stars. But if we're concentrating on achievement, at the end of the day, that's our deliverable. Those are the numbers we should be concentrating on. And hopefully we're really good at closing the gap when we have growth needs, right? And so there is something Fairview has done, and maybe we can learn from that.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, well, if you think of other questions on this, it's still here, so you can reach out to Dina. And I'm sure she'll try to explain it further. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
All right, that's the report card. Where are we on our agenda? We need to
13.
consider 13 is approval of the 2025-2026 school calendar. Amy, we discussed this in closed session. Anything changed from that?
No, from the committee of the whole? No,
Or,
nothing's
yeah,
changed.
I'm sorry. Committee
No,
of
it's
the Whole.
okay.
Thank you.
So if anyone has any questions, here to answer them, otherwise it's the same that was presented.
Anyone have questions? Then I need a motion to approve the changes to the school, or approve the school calendar for the 25-26 school year.
I move we approve the 25-26 school year calendar.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on. Period of public participation. Did anyone sign in?
We got Jerry tonight.
Jerry?
Jerry, you got 5 minutes.
How long?
5. Always 5.
First of all, Scott took away my thunder about the shooting in Madison. I just wanted, my comment was that you've got to be aware of mental problems. Some of the top neuropsychologists from Johns Hopkins, all throughout the big major universities, have been saying that our children have some mental issues. People have got to be aware, and from what I've heard of a recent thing about that young lady in Madison, there were signs, but people didn't act on it. So if you see things, you've got to act on it. Dan, I like what you did with your questions. I would like to see more of that. Stay on top of things, keep hitting it, go at it over and over again if you have to, but that's what I like to see. Discussion and asking questions, and then coming up with some resolutions, possibly, of how to correct where the deficiencies are. And, Dina, I hit on you hard this year, I think. Scott, I don't like you. I've known you for a long time. I like what you've done and everything. It's just, education is a thing with me.
Me too.
I've seen too many different things come out of our schools all around the county. Because I took 15 years of classes at SchBd-12-17. And what came out of our high schools, not good at all, including Plymouth. Other than that, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Stay safe. Have a good time with your families and everything. It's nice. In a way, I enjoy coming and talking to you, but at the same time, I wish we had more of an interaction. But, Dina, if you don't mind, I may like to, I've seen Scott on a one-on-one. I may want to talk to you one-on-one because some of the things that you went over tonight, I don't have the paperwork. I don't understand a lot of it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
I don't have a college degree.
Doesn't matter.
I made my way through because I was good at what I did in computers and everything. But I would like to sit down and talk to you about different things and find out exactly, is the state telling you things, the federal government telling you things? But at the same time, we have a lawyer. If we don't agree with things as a school board, there are times when we tell the government, pound sand, baby, we know what we're doing here. I would like to talk with you. Sure.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'm excited on that.
I stopped it when you said, "Have a Merry Christmas." I thought we were done.
30 minutes.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, and that's it?
That's it.
Okay, good. All right, board liaison reports, community ed, Sally?
community ed, the winter registration opens up tomorrow. There are a total of 60 classes and 16 of them are new. Information is going to be on the website or in the paper. This is what it looks like, and there's a lot there. It's really awesome. It also was on the Plymouth Extra front page today. There is one that caught my eye, dance fitness class. That looks like fun. Also, you can always walk the hallways or the track in the new portion of the building. Do enter on door number 18 and sign in. Not that you have to pay for anything for walking the class after school is out, but just want to know how many people's taken advantage of it. And that is it.
All right.
You can pick these up also besides here at the school at Public Library and Generations.
All right, thank you, Sally. Foundation, Janelle.
And the Plymouth Education Foundation took December off, so no meeting this month. But we are all teeing up, and the people are behind the scenes really teeing up for February 22nd. We have our big fundraiser. The Education Foundation every 2 years holds a big event, so this is the big event. And it's a music bingo fundraiser. The doors will open at 5:30, and they've got an outside crew coming in to run the music bingo, but it'll be a lot of student activity that we have the culinary kids and the students that are involved in the culinary and food services areas. They're going to actually be providing some of the food and the snacks and things that night and working as our hosts and all that too. So hope all you can join us. And in the meantime, the teachers have their teachers' wish list. Those are on the websites. And also, don't forget to fill up your gas car at the gas station in town. We always get a little bit of money back, and it always has a credit back. So that's the gas station across from Antoinette. So thank you all for your help.
All right, thank you, Janelle. Family Resource, Kathy.
The Tiny Tots Bring Your Own Baby and Biddy book clubs are kind of wrapping up for 2024, and they will be up and running again in 2025. I just want to highlight two programs that are coming in January. There's a positive parenting discussion, managing fighting and aggression at Lake Country Academy on, I forgot to write the date down. You have to register by January 9th, so it's mid-January. It will be an opportunity to meet with parents, share experiences with managing aggression and/or sibling conflict, and learn positive parenting strategies to help establish rules and encourage children to problem solve. It's open to the community and there's no cost, but you must register by January 9th, and information can be found on the website. The other program is Snow Much Fun on January 28th from 6 to 7. This is a virtual winter event. Participants will be able to read a book, do crafts, enjoy a snack, and have other winter-themed activities. It's recommended for children ages 18 to 36 months. It's free, but you must register by January 22nd. And information on all these programs can be found at the Sheboygan County Family Resource Center website. That's it.
All right, thank you, Kathy.
Yep.
Personnel.
Personnel, we are requesting that the board approve a contract for Matt Miller to be the principal at Horizon Elementary School. As a reminder, Matt took over under very difficult circumstances this summer, and we have worked very closely with Matt. I've been able to be in a lot of classrooms with Matt, which leads to great conversations. Also, survey feedback from staff. There is a great deal of appreciation for the leadership and support and guidance that he has offered during what was an exceedingly difficult time. I think Matt's leadership is going to have a tremendous impact on that school. And we look forward to having him long-term. So we're asking to remove the interim tag.
All right. We need a motion to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Need a motion to remove the interim tag for Matthew Miller.
I move that we remove the interim designation.
Second.
All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Thank you.
You're the real deal now. Thank you, man.
No, thank you for that. And then, of course, our support staff update is also included for you as well.
Okay, thank you. Travel.
Travel, this is a unique request addition to the agenda. We approved this, it's the same trip that the board approved last board meeting. However, Carl then reached out to me and said, Scott, I screwed up. I put 2025, it's actually June of 2026, which struck me because that is way in advance. But for planning purposes, hence the request. So we did add it to the agenda because it does change the year. So we are requesting approval of the same trip that was approved just a year later.
Okay. Need a motion and a second.
I make a motion, we accept the travel request and the change to the year 26.
Second.
All in favor, say yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Scott. Moving on, President's report. Well, Scott stole a little of my thunder, Jerry a little of my thunder. Madison, I really had just intended to say Merry Christmas and thank you for everything you all do for our kids. And thank you to the community for the support they give us. And Madison then came up, and I cannot not say something about what happened. It truly is tragic. 83 occurrences this year in our school systems, and it's really a shame that we have to have safety reports that go over all types of threats for our children. And we have to continue to be vigilant about how we are as a community and how we look out for our children. And Jerry, you're spot on. Mental health is huge. It's a huge issue. And it's up to all of us to continue to look around us, to engage, to wish people Merry Christmas, to give them a hug, to see the kids from Riverview up here talking about what they're doing after school and the energy. That's what we need in our schools. So I can't believe what they're going through in Madison. But we can do better. We can do better. All of us in this community, we can do better. And I'm going to say one more thing, because our senators and representatives, they wave their hands and they say this is not the time to talk about policies or anything else, that we just need to give condolences and prayers. Well, condolences and prayers just don't cut it in my mind. And I will tell you right now, we need to look out for everyone. We need to reach out for the young children. We need to address mental health. So our representatives give us the funding to help us serve the children in our communities. We need that. The other thing, this doesn't happen easily if guns were not easy to get your hands onto. So I'll tell you what, I believe in gun control. And where I believe it happens is the gun owner. Control your guns. Lock your guns up. Keep them out of the hands of children and other people. We just shouldn't have this going on. It shouldn't be this easy for this type of tragedy to occur. So that's my message. We have to do something. And with that, Merry Christmas. And reach out and say Merry Christmas and give a child a hug, and we're going to get through this. Thank you. Scott?
I wish we could have ended with that, Bob. So I'll pause a moment, and then I'm going to shift gears to celebrations.
Good.
Yeah. All right. First of all, Plymouth High School, their Drama One Act group competed at the Wisconsin Theater Festival in late November, brought home 7 state awards, including the Critics' Choice Award, which is the highest award awarded at that competition. So kudos to that group. Really well done. Plymouth High School had its reality check day. I think that was last Thursday for juniors and seniors.
It was. I was part of that. It was a blast.
Sally, would you mind commenting on it a little bit?
It's awesome for the students to learn what real life is like financially. And when they go to check out and they realize, oh, I'm in the hole this month, I can't pay all my bills, oh, let's go back and readjust where we're spending our money and get that figured out. So grateful to the community business people that come and volunteer that day. Wendy needs more help. My table was exhausting. It just did not stop until all the students went through, and it was like, oh. But a lot of fun also, because it is just great for them to learn how. And I'm like, you didn't write your check out. You need to put that in your check register, just to even do the little basic things, how to keep your check register.
And how many students?
Oh, there was a lot.
It was the entire junior class and then a chunk of the senior class.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was over
Yeah.
200, I
Yeah.
think. In the spring, it's not as many, it's under 100 in the spring. Wendy said.
And thank you for sharing that. And then while all this is going on and the kids are, getting their check and they're paying their insurance and things like that, you have Officer Fox roaming around handing out tickets randomly for, oh, you got a speeding ticket. So they get curveballs out of left field too. So it is fantastic. So yes, Wendy Naskovitz deserves a lot of credit for that one. Other things, Connie Lund of our Family and Consumer Science shared that 3 of her students, Annalise Huss, Luke Fellows, and Neela Shepard, were chosen to prepare their burger creations at Fox Valley Technical College, so they were honored in that regard.
Scott, can I take you that one real quick?
Yeah, please.
Selfishly?
Yeah.
What was also cool is that my son, who graduated through the culinary program, was actually at Fox Valley Tech as one of the timekeepers, and so he was able to see the
Fantastic.
students, and it's just kind of cool to see the
that's
trickle-down
cool.
effect of that as well. So
Awesome,
it's
thank
neat to
you.
see that combination.
Yep, thank you. And she also shared that 4 of her students recently passed their ServSafe Food Protection Manager test as well. Again, a significant certification coming out of that class, so that's super. And then just in passing, the high school had their 8th grade visit last Friday, so we had all grades 8 through 12 here at the high school for the day on Friday, so a lot of work by staff to pull that off, and it went really, really well. Riverview had their Deck the Halls on December 6th, 60 decorated trees, every door is decorated. They raised about $400 to support Riverview families through their raffles.
Nice.
Just a great event. About 400 people attended, so they're looking to ramp that up even more next year. So thank you to Mr. Dorgan and his crew on that one. And then I guess I should just comment on all of our school concerts. The last one is tonight. Riverview's hosting theirs at 7 o'clock. Yes, I'm on the deadline.
Yeah, you gotta get going.
It was the night before Christmas. I'm hoping I can hold up for that one. But again, just a joy to see our kids, the staff members, and then all the families in attendance. Just warms the heart. And yes, happy holidays to everybody, and thank you for all that you do.
Amen. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Scott. And with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn? Second.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Thank you all. And